community. I love everything that's kind of happening in the cleared space right now from a recruiting standpoint, and really do consider myself lucky to be able to speak to a room full of recruiters about cleared recruiting. So one of the things that we always kind of talk about when we're doing a Cleared Connect and I'm doing a presentation is how tactical can we get in the presentation, and today we're going to try to get really tactical. So I'm going to show a lot of different things within ClearanceJobs, but also just day-to-day recruiting stuff that I think is really overlooked a lot of times. So a little background on me. I've been in the government contracting space since 2008. I started as a recruiter, and within 3 months, my boss quit, and I found myself managing a $30 million prime contract. I had no experience in it. I have no idea why they let me manage this contract, but I got a crash course in government contracting very quickly. Managed a team of about 16 recruiters, and we were doing 600-700 hires a year. And then, so I started in internal, right? I started in a defense contractor. Then in 2018, started a business with my wife. I actually fell in love with my wife in Colorado Springs, so love this area. But we started a business in 2018 just to help cleared recruiting firms and help companies hire cleared talent. We really thought we were going to get out of the defense space after 10 years working for a prime contractor. We wanted to go recruit for Apple or Google. Didn't happen. Really quickly, our network pulled us back into defense, and we kind of tripled down, and this is the space that we operate in. Very passionate about it. We've hired thousands of people in this space across any client you could think about, prime subcontracts, any situation, a lot of OCONUS positions, but we've seen it all pretty much by this time. Actually, now that I say that, every day something comes up new. Never thought I would see something like what we saw at the beginning of the year with DRIP. Just keeps us on our toes, and there's always something. But then in 2022, we founded Shadow Labs, which is a training program that's specifically for cleared recruiters. This is built by recruiters who are in the field every day with minimum brand recognition, with small budgets, and that's what I love. I love to hear what the big companies are doing, but what I really care about is what's the small company doing that has no budget, no brand recognition? How do they succeed a lot of times quicker, faster, and more efficiently than some of the bigger companies? And we've trained hundreds of recruiters. So throughout our career, probably 200 people at this time that we've trained in our career. Ironically, we really always look for recruiters with no experience. We love to really hire based upon behavioral attributes. And I think that's important because I think being a recruiter in this space, there's so much that you have to just have the aptitude to learn, because we work in an environment that's incredibly difficult, and it's always changing. It's a hard environment. This is hard work. Recruiting itself is very difficult. It's just a difficult job. But recruiting in the cleared space is next to impossible. We see people making the impossible happen every single day. Like I said, what happened with Doge, I never thought we would see anything like that in the government. And it's just another thing that is affecting the candidate pool and how we operate. Sometimes recruiting is hard enough, but sometimes the most difficult part about it are our own teammates, our hiring managers, the program managers. And I want to talk a little bit today about how do we mitigate that, and how do we work with hiring managers and program managers to have a more successful hiring function. Super high demand on talent. Every single year, it seems like it gets worse and worse, but there's just not enough cleared talent for our programs. And we had some discussion this morning about what if we could lessen the requirements? I think every recruiter in this room is yeah, I would love to do that, but it's not within our control. So all of this smart stuff that we hear about lessening requirements or skills-based hiring, it's almost impossible in our industry just because of the way the government acquires work. So it's a very hard environment to work in. Everything is a unicorn. How many times has your hiring manager been oh, this is a unicorn position? It's how is every position a unicorn position? Salaries are escalating. I remember when $120,000 for a software developer was good money. Now, we're seriously hiring people at $250,000 for 3 years of experience in DevSecOps. So Smaller businesses have been able to really kind of capitalize on these higher salaries in some respects if you're in like that software factory ecosystem. But generally speaking, most of us are dealing with labor categories that are built into 10-year-old contracts sometimes, and we have to deal with that escalating salary within the cleared space. And then RTO versus remote. So when COVID happened, my main worry was, how the heck are we going to go remote? There's no way the government's going to go remote. Seemingly overnight, the government said, hey, we can make this work. They did, but now we've got this RTO demand. And this is something that for the last 5 years or so, candidates have gotten very used to working remote. They don't want to go back into the office. And now we have something like this to deal with. Is everyone familiar with this, Jasper Sleet? Have you heard of this? Okay, so Jasper Sleet, it's a North Korean state-sponsored campaign placing synthetic IT operatives in US companies. Do you think this is happening in the cleared space? So they're using, basically it's remote workers, they're using VPNs, deepfake interview stuff, fake documentation, they're stealing social security numbers, and they're getting placed at cleared companies. I didn't think that this was possible. I talked to a company last week that had this happen. They figured out they had a North Korean worker basically working within the ranks of the rest of the cleared personnel. So yes, it's happening at GovCons. Here's some numbers. There's 3,000 identified currently, and this data is from Microsoft. So there's 3,000 accounts associated with Microsoft that have associations with North Korean workers. 64 organizations have been affected. That's data from the DOJ. That doesn't mean that those are government contractors. And then this number is actually quite small. Just under $1 million that has been funneled over to North Korean military programs. This is something that I think in the next year to 2 years is going to be a huge issue. So did anyone hear the news with Microsoft and what they're kind of under fire for right now? So they were basically doing classified engineering work in the DoD with Chinese nationals. And they just got busted for doing this, but the way they got around it is they said that they have escorts. So they've got a TSSCI escort with them. But when the DOJ dug into it, they saw that these escorts aren't technically capable to even understand if any of the data that these people are working with is being funneled into other organizations. So the Secretary of Defense came out last week and basically said China will not be involved with any DoD cloud platform. But this is a big thing. So companies are going to be coming under fire for this. If we have time, I've got a video that shows one of these interviews that you can see the synthetic deepfake kind of in action. So if we got time, I'll show that to you. So we've been thinking a lot about how do we prepare for this? And we've heard from clients for a couple years now that one of the things they're worried about is employees taking 2 jobs within the Department of Defense. So it's remote workers. It's called overemployment. They're working for 2 companies, billing 2 companies 40 hours of work, which is fraud. If it's just got to be made clear that that's total fraud. So they basically said, we've started thinking, how do we look for this? How do we spot it? And some of the clients that we work with have started imposing things like this. So no virtual backgrounds in interviews. And the reason why is because the virtual background makes it a lot easier for the AI to mirror the person or deepfake the person. So no virtual background in interviews. Screenshot verification during the interviews, where literally you're doing a Teams call with somebody and you take a screenshot because they want to make sure that the person they're interviewing is actually the person that's showing up to work. Now, one thing I should mention about Jasper Sleet, the first question I asked is I said, okay, if this is a cleared individual, how did DCSA respond to this? Tell me about the investigation. And they said DCSA came in, and the first thing they said is, give me the social security number. They ran the social security number and they said, oh, we're aware of that as being a possible foreign social security number. And my first question was, how the hell is that not notated in DICS? Why doesn't anyone see when they run a security clearance that this is a flaggable security clearance? So that was interesting to me. No AI usage during interviews and making candidates confirm this. So this is huge. Like just telling the candidate, it's not going to prevent them from doing it, but having it in the meeting invite that says, please, by joining this meeting, we confirm that you're not using AI in the process. That's not going to stop people from doing it, but it may stop some. But the big thing that caught this was the recruiter in this instance. And I asked him, how did you stop it? Or how did you spot it? And he said, it just didn't feel right. That something was going on. There was like very monotone conversation, weird pauses. Like I never thought that it was like a deep fake talking to me, but just in my gut, I was like, something isn't right. So going back to what makes a good recruiter, it's that instinct. It's really having this situational awareness and instinct. So this is more information from DCSA, which has been out since like 2022. Resume submission is the #1 method of attempted infiltration into cleared environments. So I'm pretty in the know, but I didn't know this. And does anyone in the room, did you know this? Has anyone in security talked to you about this issue? So 25% of all credible reports are from resume submissions. It kind of rephrases our job as security in a sense, right? So now we have to really think about company security. I didn't make this graphic. It's obviously a horrible government graphic, but that is the resumes as attack vendors. So this is straight from the DCSA report. It's online, you can see it. But 25% is resume submissions. It's the highest. So it just really talks to me about, this is how I look at our job, right? This is a recruiter's job. Is that we've got so much stuff that we have to worry about on a day-to-day basis, and now we have to worry about security. And, so I should back up too. My company, Mount Indy, we're a cleared facility. I am the Insider Threat Program Security Officer, but this information should be out there. Like every recruiter should know this. Every recruiter needs to understand that the way people are getting into companies is through recruiters. So it's a big deal. So what are we going to deal with this year? So overemployment is still going to be a big issue. Has anyone dealt with that at their companies where they've caught somebody working 2 jobs? You have? Do you mind telling me like how you caught them or?
Yeah, so actually the manager was on a call with the person. They forgot to mute their microphone and they could hear another company's meeting going on in the background. We knew this company, so we reached out to them and asked, hey, do you have this person on your staff? And they sure did, so they lost both of those jobs in one day.
Wow. Yeah, so it is happening, and I didn't realize the extent. So I always thought about it as 2 cleared jobs, right? Like you can't work 2 cleared jobs. And what I saw recently, so we were doing not an investigation, but we were checking somebody's security clearance for a job we were hiring for. We didn't see any cleared companies on the resume. All of the companies were like big firms, and it was, for some reason, we're seeing this in SaaS. So people with SaaS background, software as a service. And she said, I have a clearance. And I'm looking at her resume. I'm like, where did you get a clearance? Like, I don't understand how you would have a clearance from any of these employers. She said, well, I got it on my own. I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. So we checked this, and she had like 5 ownership SMOs within like 12 months, or not 12 months. She had 5 all under 12 months. So basically, her clearance was transferring companies very quickly. And what she was doing, or what we think she was doing, was working commercial jobs and then working a cleared job. But it's still the same thing. Yeah?
They had a big thing. I'm from the DC area. NBC News 4 during COVID had a big thing about people with clearances double dipping on their job. One when they got caught, I think you have to fill out an income statement for your clearance about where your income comes from. But they discovered that some people that had TS that were doing cyber work, like ISO work,
Yeah.
they had 3 and 4 jobs.
Yeah.
And how they had it is they were working remote. But what I don't understand is I thought only one company could hold your clearance at a time. So I'm trying to understand how you work 4 TS cleared ISO jobs. All 4 companies can't hold your clearance, can they?
So your clearance can be associated with multiple programs. And when you see that happening, though, that means one of those employers was okay with it. That's how I read that, right? Which is still wrong. So let me just be clear on that. So you'll see people that do whatever, some technical job during the day, and then at night they're doing like little escort work or something just to make extra money. That's fine. You can do that. The problem is when people are billing us, the taxpayer, 40 hours a week at multiple companies. So what could happen to the candidate, and this is good for recruiters to know because we have these conversations with candidates that we think might be doing this, is look, some companies are not as cool as others, and you may meet an FSO that's going to report you to DCSA and you're going to lose your clearance. So there's a lot of things that could happen. So 2025, I think we're going to be seeing this a lot, and it's really just about us preparing ourselves mentally, like being on the lookout for these things and really trusting your gut. Synthetic fraud, which is just the AI and deepfakes, this is going to be a major thing. So there's companies out there that their sole purpose is how to cheat an interview. Like there's a lot of companies out there, and people are using them. So for example, like in an interview, a Teams interview, they will have an AI that it makes their eyes go forward, but they're like reading off screen. And they can nail questions because the AI is listening, it's printing out the response, and they're just reading it. So yeah, you have to be weary of that. We actually caught somebody doing that because we could see the AI in the reflection on their glasses. I'll show you the video too, another if we have time, but basically, I've seen recruiters, like it's an analog problem to a really complex, or it's an analog solution to a very complex problem where you just say, hey, wave your hand in front of your face, and see what happens. But anyways, perception is perception of instability. So with Doge, people are like, oh my God, for the first time ever, government work is not safe. Like I've been in this since 2008, and I tell candidates all the time, like, this is safe and secure work. Even if you lose the contract, you're gonna be badge flipped, whatever. But now people see like, hey, this may not be such a secure environment to work in as far as job security. I do think that we're also, going to see, and we're starting to see more of this, but recruiters have to think like marketers. We have to create engagement. We have to, bring eyes to our brand and bring eyes to us because 90% of our job is hunting for candidates, but a lot of recruiters are finding success in creating engagement in the community. And so one thing I love about this event is it shows you that there is a recruiting community within the cleared space, which honestly, before Connect, that didn't exist. Like the commercial sector, they have all these events, they get together, the recruiters work together, but us, we're so like tight-lipped, and we're like, I'm not gonna tell you where I found this person. I'm not gonna tell you any of my secrets. And I'm here to tell you all the secrets. Like, I'll tell you whatever you want. But it's beautiful to see this happening. But one of the big trends is seeing recruiters act like marketers, create engagement, create content. And it's a double win for your company because you're bringing eyes to the company brand as well. Now, some of the bigger organizations won't let you be as free as how you express yourself. To those recruiters, I would say work with your marketing departments and say, hey, how can I speak to the community? How can I post more than just sharing job descriptions? We talked about this at the beginning of the year, VC disruption on rates. So you have venture capital backed defense contractors that are coming into the market with just unlimited money and dumping it on the candidate pool. You see this in DevSecOps. But you're seeing it now with anything related to drone technology. People are getting a lot of salary bumps from these VC-backed companies. RTO, we talked about. Counteroffers. Who's dealing with counteroffers right now? Yeah, tons of counteroffers. Like, we used to be able to say, hey, if you take a counteroffer, you'll be the first one out in 90 days. Like, it doesn't work anymore. So I try to train my team just to talk about counteroffers on every single call and make sure we're prepared for when a counteroffer does happen because they're happening all the time. I'm seeing more like just backouts and ghosting, just people like, not showing up or getting an offer and completely bailing. We're seeing that more than ever. But a positive thing is we're gonna see AI offloading a ton of our administrative work. So who's using AI in the room right now to do anything? What are you using it for?
Just random stuff.
Random stuff. Me too.
I'll say like candidate engagement. Like the way I create my emails, because we're dealing with the Maryland customers, so you really have to be crafty with these candidates.
Yeah.
It's a ton of outreach. and it leverages it. I take the resume and it hits out the key points.
Yeah.
And I've seen a more successful
Return.
response.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk more about that.
Yeah.
Job descriptions.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
We'll get crappy job descriptions from hiring managers, and you put that in and you tell AI what you want, 5 bullets, short and sweet.
Yeah. You're getting crappy job descriptions for your hiring managers? I've never heard that before, ever. You would think at this point, like, we'd have that figured out at least. But yeah, that's a great way to do it. Just an interesting thing on that too, though, is like, so we've gotten a little screwy with that where we had someone working on something and it was the same problem. They went back from an AI job description that we wrote and it almost took them down the wrong path, the AI. So you have to like put guardrails in there. But yeah, totally. Any other examples? Yeah.
Summarizing phone screens.
Love that. Yeah. Is anyone recording or using like any okay. Are you using MetaView or
No, we're using Teams.
Teams?
Yeah, and I just let them know and they understand because
Yeah.
I said this is just for notes.
That's awesome. So you're taking the transcript, you're putting it in the AI, it summarizes it.
I put it in my own template.
Yeah,
Cut and paste, make sure it's good, right? Because sometimes it hallucinates.
totally.
I have to start new chats.
Yeah.
I always have to start a new chat because if you keep it going, it'll start hallucinating and making up stuff. I'm like, where did you get this?
Right.
Oh, you're right. Thank you for the.
Thank you. Yeah, right. Yeah, so we'll see a lot of that. So I want to just tell you a little bit about Shadow Labs. And I'm going to go through this quickly. So what we focus on, and the reason why I want to go through this is because I want this session to be as interactive as possible. And keep these topics in mind. If I don't talk about it, it's fair game to ask me about anything on here. So we really hit on sourcing, like how to source the right way. I'm definitely going to talk about that today, and I'm interested to hear about your guys' sourcing process and how you handle these things. So we do a lot on sourcing, data mining, how to find people's contact information, outreach. So how to actually like reach out to people and handle those communications the best way possible. So who has a legit, no kidding, documented process on how to handle a recruiting phone call?
It's different with every candidate.
Yeah,
Honestly.
right.
Yeah.
But what's that?
This is a general transcript.
General transcript. But do you know in your head, like these are like the 10 things I have to get out of this call? Yeah. Yeah. So you'll kind of get the idea. We're incredibly process-based. We do a lot of process around what we do just because we want to scale it. And then the training talks about recruiting. So like how to handle the hardest part of the job, which is controlling the candidate and calls, building a pipeline, locking people down, and then how to be more efficient in your recruiting practices. All right. So I want everyone to like ask questions during the rest of the presentation. I'm going to go through some tactical stuff. Feel free to challenge me, to comment, to ask for further clarification. But we do need a parking lot. So we do need like some go back moments, light bulb moments, things needing further explanation. So I'll try to keep track of those up here. I may not even write anything on there, but that's what the pad of paper's for. So I really want you guys today to walk away with one aha moment. I really too want you to have a clear picture of ClearanceJobs functionality. Who thinks they're like an extremely good user of ClearanceJobs? Does everyone use ClearanceJobs? Okay, let me do some more questions. So who's recruiting day to day in here? Okay, anyone managing recruiting teams? Okay, well, for you non-recruiters, you're gonna get a crash course on recruiting here. Yeah, so I want you to walk away with a clear picture of ClearanceJobs functionality, and then really just help influence some smart change in your process. Those little tweaks that can make it a little bit more easy for you to find those cleared candidates, and then provide some out-of-the-box ideas. I start everything with talking about the candidate mindset, what they're dealing with, how, what they're going through, because I think the most important part of profiling your ICP or your ideal candidate profile is understanding what they're going through, understanding their environment, understanding their inbox. So they're in insane demand. Obviously, sometimes they're in closed off environments. We all understand it doesn't make any sense to call someone at 9 a.m. on a Monday who's in a skiff all day, right? Like sometimes they're in those closed off environments. they have tons of job opportunities. I mean, if you're a poly-cleared developer in Fort Meade, you have people throwing money and opportunity at you all the time. So their inboxes are flooded. We're gonna talk about messaging today and outreach and how to really work on your messaging, because I will tell you, I've never met a recruiter who writes good messages. Maybe I'll meet one today, I'm hoping I do, but recruiting messaging is just, for some reason, we're all writing the same messages. And why this is important is because how are you gonna stand out? How are you gonna stand out to the candidates if you're writing the same message everyone else is writing? Our candidates are security minded. They're very hypersensitive about scams and phishing. You know, everyone in here, have you gone through a company security training? So all of the candidates are going through higher level security trainings that are basically saying, do not tell people you have a clearance. Now, they don't always listen, but they're being trained that they should not, literally FSOs are telling candidates, do not tell anyone what you do. Like, do not give details. They literally say if somebody is asking you too many questions about your job, it's a red flag. And that's all we do is ask them questions about their job. So the point is they are super security minded. And now we've got Doge to deal with on top of that. What do they hate? Candidates hate being ghosted. They hate being contacted about the wrong job. And this is like, if you could take one thing away from this presentation today, it's that bullet, being contacted about the wrong job. Everything falls apart at that bullet. They hate a lack of information. They hate when they talk to a recruiter and they ask simple questions like, how much is left on the period of performance? And you can't answer that question. Or give me a little bit idea of the day-to-day, what they're actually building, and you can't answer that question. So it's really important as a recruiter to connect yourself to the program, to build legitimacy and build that trust. And they absolutely hate their time being wasted, and most of all, they hate recruiters. Right? So the key to connecting with candidates is understanding the landscape. So who dares tell me their cold call introduction? Does anyone want to volunteer? When you cold call someone and they pick up the phone, what do you say? Thank you.
I don't care.
That's what you say? No, I'm just kidding.
Usually when I call somebody, I introduce them. I say, hello, my name's Robin Graves. I'm calling on behalf of MCD. This is a good time for you to speak. And they'll let you know if they can or can't. And if they can't, they say, I can't speak right now. Tell them, this is my work cell phone. It's always on. Call me back when you have a moment. And if they say, yeah, I can speak, let me step outside. They like to scurry off. And I'll say, okay, I'm giving you a call today because I located your resume. I want to know if you're on the market. And what are you looking to do in your next career move? Because a lot of people are in transition. They're doing what they do because it pays the bills, but that's not necessarily what they like.
Yeah.
Or what they're passionate about.
Awesome.
And then when they speak to me about different things they like to do, I keep my little notebook down and I let them know, well, look, we have over 1,000 positions open. If you have a few minutes, I'd like to go through what recs we have, see if we can match your talent to what you're looking for. And what I do is I go into our ATS and I actually give them physical rec numbers of openings, look at the minimum requirements, the clearance requirements, let them know. And because I've been trying to repurpose the people in DC for Doge, and I'll take them to our website and show people actually how to search for a job. Because most people don't. This is what they do. Executive assistant. I can do that.
Right.
There's my resume. Didn't open the job, didn't read it, didn't look at the requirements, don't know what it requires. So I always introduce myself and ask them for their time. Yeah. Because their time's valuable. And if they can't, then I'll ask them to reach back out to me, and we usually go from there.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being the guinea pig. So this really depends on the people that you're recruiting. But when I call a system engineer or a cloud developer or somebody highly technical and highly cleared, I say, hey, Mark, this is Tom from Mount Indy. We're building a team over at the NGA. What we're building right now is next generation, blah, blah, blah. I shared your resume with the director of engineering already. Do you have 5 minutes to talk? And it's the same with like the email and the phone call. Like, I want to establish my credibility. I want to establish that I know they're the right person for the job, all within the first few minutes. I never say the word submit. I never say the word hiring manager. I say, I'm going to share your information with the director of engineering. That's the next step in this process. Like always showing them that I'm connected. And I'm not. I run a staffing agency. But my goal is to be very connected with my people. And it's so much easier for you guys to do that, to say like, hey, like, you don't have to have a long conversation with your director of engineering. You could just send them the resume. And there, I sent the resume to them, and they've reviewed it already, whatever. But the whole point is to sound influential, sound connected, because a lot of times what candidates are doing is they're vetting you. Do you have the ability to get me the job? Do you have the connectivity? So we're hyper-focused on this because, again, we're a staffing agency, but we are in the cleared space. But we make sure that they understand from the first second that they are talking to me that I know what the hell I'm talking about, and I have done my research on them. So it's really, this first 5 seconds in the phone call, the first line in the email, they're critical.
Well, and it also tells you that, hey, they are interested in me, even though you might have not shared your resume.
Yeah.
But it's saying, oh, you've already shared my resume.
Yes.
And there's interest. So
Totally.
That's what gets them. It's not like, hey, I wanted to talk to you first to see what you're interested in doing, and then I'll talk to my director of
Yeah.
engineering.
That's a great point.
It helps
Yeah.
with the relationship too.
Yeah.
So less ghosting.
Yeah.
And all the time my recruiters, because I source, right?
Yeah.
And I hand over the client, I'm a candidate. And so I'm like, they're available to talk this time. And it helps them connect, or sometimes the recruiter might not be able to connect with them.
Yeah.
And when they see me call, they answer.
Totally.
You know, so it builds.
Credibility and
yeah.
yeah.
Saying that you're actually going to
Yeah.
do what you said you
Yeah.
do, versus, I mean, they feel like they get ghosted by us, but do you know how many candidates ghost us?
Totally. Yeah.
So it's like they complain about that, but then, every day it's like, okay, you and I just talked, I have an interview ready to be scheduled, and you're not calling me back, so.
How many people have had candidates forget who they were that you've like submitted and they've forgotten who you were? Like I see that all the time.
I think I see that a lot in our area.
Yeah.
There's so many small companies
Yeah.
and subs, so they have no idea.
Yeah.
And my team's like, we've already seen the resume
Yeah.
from our sub, and then they're like, what? I never even talked to them.
Yeah.
I've never even given them my permission.
That's another great data point for why you have to be, like, it sounds weird, but I say you have to be memorable. Like you have to get this person to remember you, especially if you're a smaller business, because I've seen plenty of recruiters, they talk to candidates, they screen them, they submit them, the candidate calls them back and they literally don't remember them. And it is because they're getting so many other calls. So if you understand they're having all of these other calls, how do you sink your hooks in? And it's part of building that credibility. The example of the sourcing to the recruiter relationship is a great one because you can easily say, if you're the recruiter, hey, the sourcing team has already gone through your experience and they understand that you're a fit for the program. Now the call with me, the recruiter, is more to get a little bit more technical. So it's just really establishing that legitimacy. All right, you guys want to do a ClearanceJobs deep dive? Go into the platform a little bit? All right, so here's some secrets. Don't want to spill that on my computer. All right, so ClearanceJobs is by far the best resource available to any of us. Oh, don't make me do two-factor, guys. Damn it. All right, hold on.
Security first,
Totally. Well, that just shows you how quick it was. You know what's funny? It does that when I'm off-site. It doesn't do that in my office. So I'm interested to know why.
I think I do it 4 times a day.
You do?
Yeah, oh yeah. You go away from the site just a little bit too long onto another tab, multi-factor, right back there.
My teammates said the same thing. I'm like, it's only, this is the first time it's ever happened to me. They're like, this two-factor authentication. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's good. Safety, security. Okay, so everyone is familiar with searching for candidates in ClearanceJobs. I'm going to go through some different ways that I use it that I think is really effective, and some pretty dumb ways that I use it that have been really effective. So the first thing, just little things. So let's just look for a candidate. Well, let's start here. Are you guys using IntelliSearch? Okay. Are you using Boolean? Great. Are you using IntelliSearch with Boolean? Great. Okay. So I'm just going to run a little Boolean search here. I'm just trying to get any candidate up. Oh. Okay, so this button right here, connect. Who knows what that button does?
Network.
Add you to the network. What else does it do?
You can message them.
Yes. Did everyone hear that? It sends an automated message. So just by going like this, I just sent a message. What does that message say? Does anyone know? It's what you created. There's a default one in there, but this is a branding opportunity. Like they are getting this from every recruiter, like yours should be different. So just to show you where to do it, you go, I'll find it. Okay, here it is. Okay, so you go to Candidates Network Settings, and here's where I'm almost embarrassed to read mine because I'm here teaching this class and I haven't changed it in a while. Yeah, so I'm basically encouraging them to go to our careers page. What I should be doing is say, I should have the link to my website.
Hit the preview button.
Thank you. Okay,
That's what the candidate sees.
thank you. Who said that? Oh, you have it, yeah. So this might be your aha takeaway. So I got a question. Are they getting a text message too? No, just an email. Okay. But yeah, this is a branding opportunity, and this is just a little thing in ClearanceJobs. I fire these things off like nothing. I don't care if
I was just going to say, when we develop the connection, it's almost like when you go to a event and you hand out your business card.
Mhm.
It's a virtual business card. That's basically what you're doing. Like, hey,
Yeah.
here's who I am.
Yeah. And I,
Is it an email message or is it a message inside of ClearanceJobs?
Well, email.
email.
Email, okay.
I thought they got a text message.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, please.
You can set it up to automatically do it in your workflow.
Yes.
Somebody comes up in your workflow.
Yep, and we're going to go through workflow too. Awesome. But anyways, the point is this is a branding message. You can put whatever you want in here. I think there's a limitation on how many characters. But I fire these things off all day long. I don't care if I ever have a job for the person. I just want them in my network. Like, I just want these people to be looking at my jobs. Some of my recruiters are weird. They're like, well, I don't want to add. I'm like, add them. Just add them. Okay, so that's a big thing. Like, that's one little big thing. All right, who's using broadcast messages? It's been a minute.
They used to have the happy hour, but I think they stopped that. I can't remember how to.
Don't steal my candidates on screen here, guys. Okay, so broadcast messages, you get 5 a month, and you're basically able to send them to whatever groups that you want. Who knows where to find the groups? Because you're sitting there selecting from the list, and you're like, I don't even know what groups exist. Do you know where to find the groups?
When you start the search.
Well, to actually find which groups to join. Where is it? There it is, groups. So here's all the groups that are available. And then you join the groups. And to me, it's important to understand this because when you're saying which broadcast message am I going to send out, you want to say, which groups should I hit? And these are tremendously effective if you do them the right way. And this is probably, correct me if I'm wrong, a very underused feature. Yes, so not a lot of people are using this. So basically, if you check the right groups and do the right filters, you could send a message out to 5,000 cleared candidates at a click of a button. Some groups have less, some groups have more. But for example, we do a ton of Red Hat consulting. And there's Red Hat group, right? 3,000 members. I'm hitting that all the time. But yeah, so I get familiar with these groups because you have to know the groups to figure out how to most effectively use your broadcast message. So there's 5 of these per account per month. Okay, so that's broadcast message. What about reports? Are you guys reading any of the ClearanceJobs reports? This to me is like gold. So let me show you the reports. So applications report. These are all the people that applied to my job. Now, Why wouldn't you just look in the ATS? Any guesses? Drop off. There's no guarantee that they made it to your ATS. All this means is they clicked apply on ClearanceJobs and did a couple form things, if any. But these are the people that applied. These are warm leads. These are people that are interested in my jobs that I posted on the Cleared platform. They're on ClearanceJobs, so they have clearances. Applications report is a no-brainer. Let's look at another one. This is the expressed interest report. Do you guys know what expressed interest is? Yeah. So if you don't, it's basically the opportunity for the candidate to quickly just say, I'm not ready to apply, but I'm interested. And these are just as warm as applicants, in my opinion. So these are great. This is a great place to look for people. Now, what I was struggling with when I first started using these reports was, okay, but how do I know which job, because you may have 10 senior configuration data managers open. So how do I know which one do they apply to? And I actually went back with the product team a couple times and talking about this. And then one day I was like, oh, there's a report there. Sorry, I'm an idiot. But there's already a report there. It is, I believe, this one. It is not that one. Which one is it? I think it's on my notes, but I'm not looking at them. Jobs Unlimited? No, it's not that one either. Hold on, let me look at this. Oh, okay, so it's in a different place. You go job post, then to job posts, and then all the data is right there. Here's the applicants. So I'll tell you as a manager, when I look at this, I get super angry because these are all unread. I know this is a high priority position right now. This one in Dayton, that one in Oxnard. There's 2 applicants there. Look at this one, 10 unread. This is a hard position, this counterintelligence policy position that we're working right now. So if my team is not doing this, I guarantee your teams aren't doing this. I harp on this all day. So this report is great because you just go into the applicants and it shows you a list. Here's who applied. And these are the applicants in ClearanceJobs. Some of these are going to be in your ATS. They're going to find their way to the ATS, but some of them are not. So yes, you also get them sent to your email. Yeah, that's interesting because we'll talk about that when we talk about workflow. But yeah, you can get them sent to your email. But it's the awareness of like, you have to be checking for these. Because we're getting them sent to our email for sure, but they're still not doing it. You know what I mean? So this is a really powerful feature in ClearanceJobs because they know your brand, they've engaged, they've applied, they're interested. It's a warm connection. And again, obviously when you reach out to them, you say, hey, you applied to our job on ClearanceJobs. I want to talk to you a few minutes about the position, blah, blah, blah. So that's a great report. Let's look at workflows. Is everyone using workflows? Couple nods, couple nods. Is anyone not using workflows? Okay, so this is like, ClearanceJobs is way ahead of the game on this. Workflows are rad. So that's found under the bell, manage workflows. Okay, so essentially what this is it allows you to automate things within ClearanceJobs. It allows you, we'll look at one here. God, there's my clients' names on there. Oh no, let's do this one. I told you I was gonna tell you everything. Okay, so this one, basically what you do is you put the job description in. Now, I believe it's using IntelliSearch to do the matching. They're the same technology. So you really want this to be good. Here's where people really mess up in workflows is you're not specific enough and you start ignoring them. Workflow, you want it to be like, if I get a workflow notification, I'm literally dropping everything I'm doing and I'm calling that candidate. It has to be that specific. So basically I'm saying I want it to be a 75% match or greater to the job description I entered. They have to have one of these clearances. I'm doing a location radius of 25 miles from Carlsbad, California. They have to have senior year experience, or I'm saying 5 to 10 years of experience, and they have to be open to relocation. And then, so I'm telling the workflow, if a candidate that matches that profile activates their profile or updates their resume, send me an email. That recruiter doesn't even work here anymore. Send me a resume. And also send this phone number a text message. So you're automating, you can say the last time someone logged in, the last time somebody updated their resume. There's a whole bunch of different features that you can do in the workflow automations. This is very powerful, but the downfall is it has to be specific. If it's too wide, you're gonna start ignoring it. And that's what I see a lot of recruiters doing. So it has to be dead on. Any questions on that? You guys see the value in the workflow portion? Yeah. So if you're really smart, you can then, in your email account, automate, if you get a response from whatever the email address is with the subject line workflow, you can set an automation up in your email that automatically responds. But you can also have ClearanceJobs automatically respond to the candidate as well. So it's really, really powerful. Workflow is a great tool. All right, here's no-brainer one. Are you guys using Live? So this is something new that is within the last year or two. This is the ability to host live sessions, video calls, webinars, whatever you want to do. Like at first, I think the intent was, I'm not saying the intent, but I think the perceived use case from the recruiting community was, I'm going to get on here and talk about all my jobs, and candidates can join and they can listen to the jobs, and I can hold my own little virtual career fair within the ClearanceJobs platform. But if you see the content that's being developed, tips for navigating a career transition, Lindy did that one. Metronome, the mastermind, this is basically an intro to the CEO. So you can create the content on the secure platform, feed it to the cleared candidates who are worried about security and say, learn more about our CEO on this video. Nobody is doing this. Like, this is not being done. So you can really get ahead of the game by getting onto Live. I mean, I do them for recruiters. So I basically will say, hey, I want to do a recruiter training and post it on ClearanceJobs, and then the recruiters can go on and watch it. So you can really do whatever you want on Live. But when we go back to the beginning and you talk about recruiting is going to start looking like marketing, this is like the easiest tool to start facilitating that activity. Tony does incredible videos. And if I were you guys and you were looking to get into this, I would just watch some of them and be like, what are people doing? It's not high production value. It's not scripted. It's just people out there winging it. And you know, this one, I'll just show you what it looks like.
What's going on?
These are my boys. Obviously not scripted, you know what I mean? So you can't hear it, but they're basically just doing an introduction to them as recruiters, the types of positions that they work on, and encouraging candidates to reach out to them. So Live is tremendous. And
How much storage, how much are we allowed to use?
I don't think there's a limit.
That's the limit.
Test the limit.
And how long does your content stay there? Do you take it down, or does it also, does it age out?
Right now it stays out there forever. Yeah, it's still relatively new. We're trying to encourage more content there, so now's a good time to get in there, get early footage, get your video out there. There's no limit right now.
So I'm going to say the dirty word, okay? I wish I went all in on, excuse me, on LinkedIn 10 years ago. I didn't. You go all in on this now. You're way ahead of the game. Like, this is the next big thing. Again, I don't work for ClearanceJobs. Like, I run my own company, but this is the next thing. Like, using this type of content, yeah, it's great. So get on Live. It's not that expensive to add to your system. I do sound like I work at ClearanceJobs, but definitely use it. And I would just encourage you to watch some of them to do it. And I do it at night. I have a beer, do it, you know, let the guard down and say whatever I want. Okay, what about Pulse Update? Do you guys use Pulse Update? So very few people are using this. It's basically your Facebook feed. So if you have 2 connections, this thing is no one's gonna be on there. So you want to add tons of connections, because look what these people are saying. Like, Darlene just added a PMP 2 minutes ago. You know, so she's now probably qualified for a position that I didn't think she was qualified for before because she didn't have that PMP. And these are all my connections. This guy's looking. He's got 6 years at CISA, cyber training, CVE research, joint exercises. So you're seeing this content, but also it's your opportunity to share your jobs and another place for you to feed content to the cleared community. So this is a great feature that not a lot of people are using. But yeah, so that's the Pulse Update. Any questions on that? Any other questions on ClearanceJobs? Yeah, please.
On that pulse update, do we know like the percentage of the database that's using it?
That's a great question. Percentage of database using pulse update from a candidate standpoint, is that what you're looking for?
I'm not sure about the posting off the top of my head. I can say that the poll, when a candidate logs in, they go to that Pulse page, and roughly every month about 90,000 candidates log in.
So
Unique candidates log in.
what Eric just said is really important. What's the first thing candidates are seeing when they log into ClearanceJobs? This. They're not seeing the jobs, they're seeing the pulse update. So you want to feed information in your pulse update. But to your question, how many people are using it, just, I mean, look at this. Like 28 minutes ago, 42 minutes ago, an hour ago, 26 minutes ago, I mean, it's active. People are doing it.
So that's their landing page.
Yes. That's a huge thing. So this is where you get the first eyes on ClearanceJobs, is like in the pulse update.
Hey, Tommy,
Yeah,
90,000 unique hits to this page.
90,000 unique hits to that page a month. There's a higher chance that they're going to see your job posted on Pulse Update than they're going to see going to your company page on ClearanceJobs. Does this change the way you look at the platform? Tremendously. It's totally different. So the whole thing that ClearanceJobs is trying to do is create a marketplace. They're trying to create a social site. They're trying to create this community where people engage. And this is how we are used to engaging. We are used to engaging on this type of feed. Does anyone use Rally Point, or has anyone logged into Rally Point? Have you heard of that? I think it's just for, I think it's just military. But the point is they're used to engaging on their own social site, Rally Point, in the exact same way. So Pulse Update is a huge thing. And then again, you don't have to say, and this is a great use for AI. Like, what am I going to post on here? You know, just how do I create an engaging post? Use AI. All right, any other questions on ClearanceJobs before I move off? Damn, I'm already at like an hour. Okay. What else do you guys want to learn about? I've got a lot prepared, but so I can talk to you about sourcing. I could talk to you about candidate control. I can talk to you about dealing with hiring managers. If there's anything at all that you want to know or need help with, please stop me. I'll continue going through some info, but I can show you some like cool uses of AI. Okay. No clue. Okay. Yeah. So great, we've got a sourcing person here. What are the sourcing metrics that your team delivers?
We usually try to have, for full scope poly folks.
Oh, yeah.
Usually like at least 5 submittals a week. 5 submittals a week? Yeah, that's vetted candidates. And that's pretty aggressive.
5 submittals sourcing, but that's full scope.
Yeah, for full scope.
Five submittals from the sourcing team.
For CI poly and then secret.
Do you have a separate sourcing and recruiting function? Okay.
No, we do everything. We're full.
Full desk. Okay. So the question is, if I'm running a sourcing operation team, the question was, I have no idea. And what I take that to is, what do I start looking at? Like, what are the metrics? What are the data? How do I manage this team? I would think for normal recruiting, so I know MC Dean does a lot of base operations and facilities management and a lot of cyber stuff too, but it depends on the candidate pool. So what you're gonna wanna say, sourcing metrics are, how many resumes did you submit to the recruiting team? Were they qualified? What does the outreach metrics look like? So you may track outbound emails, you may track phone calls. These are all sourcing related activities. And then you wanna start, the one thing I will say is you don't want to dump 100 metrics on a brand new team, or if you're the brand new manager. So start with ones that really matter, which are how many candidates are getting through the funnel, how much outbound activity are they doing, and then you'll start looking at quality metrics, like how many people converted, how many people accepted offers, things of that nature. But I would also work with your recruiting team and say, what do you want to see? What matters to you? This is a really interesting divergent part that I wasn't planning on. So recruiting is changing, and something that is incredibly important for us as recruiters, for our career pathing and our success, is to understand how business works. And there's this, we get to see everything as recruiters. We get to see how proposal managers work. We get to see BD people. We just learn all the roles from working them. We have a very unique look into the company. But when we're having discussions around metrics, the metrics have to matter. And the metrics the standard recruiting metrics don't matter to GovCon. Like I care about different things. I don't care about time to fill. I care about time when needed. So this person has a no kidding start in like a week. So if you hit your time to fill metric that was 40 days, you still missed the point of the sourcing effort, which is I need this person now. So those are the things that we look at, like what drives the business forward. And then there may be things where they're like, hey, I don't care if this position sits open for a month. It's firm fixed price. I'm making more money if it's vacant. So you have to really understand how the business operates and then generate a metrics program that is aligned with the business goals. Okay. Do you guys want to see a couple AI things real quick? Okay. So we built this. When we say we built, has anyone built a GPT or custom GPT? It's like super easy. I feel stupid even saying we built it. But so we wanted one to really help our recruiting team handle better calls. And I'll make this available. You guys can snake this and use it all you want, but let me show you how it works. So you basically take a candidate resume, and I've got one prepared. Don't look at my files. Okay, here's the candidate resume, and you hit go. First thing it says, thank you. Please upload the job description and then remove any PII. So this will not work if it shows names, phone numbers, anything like that. This GPT will not work. So now we got to put a job description in. So we put the resume in, and I'm just going to put the job description in. Look at me already. Okay, so here's the job description. Now it's going to walk me through this. Okay, no PII, resume versus job description alignment. So the first thing people are going to be scared of is you're using this to reject candidates, and that's not what we're doing. I'm using this to say, how well aligned is this resume with this job description? And as a recruiter, why I want to know is because my next task is going to be, how do I get the resume to be as aligned as possible? Because I want them to get through the gates. So it gives a very clear, does it meet it, does it not meet it? What is this person lacking, right? So it starts telling you that. Recommendations for resume improvement. So it's very clear, like if this candidate has any Kubernetes, EKS, or Docker, it must be added to the core skills and reflected in experience bullets, for example. So this is like, you do this before you get on the call with the candidate, and this is your guide. Like this is what you're starting to go through. Like, hey, your experience isn't showing this because eventually you're gonna have to get it in the resume. This is GPT. This is just something we developed, just trained a model, but I'll make it available to everyone. Like this is, and I would love to hear your feedback too. This is great. Like follow-up questions to ask candidates. So I'm not technical. I have no idea. Like I kind of know, but these are getting more technical questions. Like these aren't really good technical questions. I'll show you how to get better ones. Red flags, follow-up needed. So it's going to show what's missing. Clarify degree progress. So I see this all the time, like expected 2025, and we always have to go back and ask the candidate.
You're not technical, why are you asking technical questions?
So couple reasons. One, because my customers expect me to. Two, because I'm trying to build credibility with them, that I understand the environment that we're working in. Like I'm not technical, but I'm technical enough to ask a technical question and understand if the person is full of it or like they've really done it. So that's a good point because you never want to like talk above your pay grade, but this like candidates expect this. They expect it because they're going to ask you like, what's the environment? You don't want them to say some question and then you not be able to answer it, and you don't want to talk to the hiring manager and ask if you vetted out, did they actually do this work? And you be like, I didn't, I don't know. So it's important to get there a little bit. So then it's going to give you a match score, and then to reach a 10 out of 10, and again, this is not a candidate assessment, this is a resume assessment. We're not talking about the candidate. And then it gives you a submittal write-up, right? Like it's doing a lot of your admin. This took me 5 minutes to put together. Quantifiable skills recommendations. Okay, so then you could say, like, give me 5 technical questions to ask. I love how you don't have to spell right, too. Candidate about Docker experience as it relates. So like, I'm not saying, this isn't really a technical question, right? But it sounds technical. Can you walk me through how you containerize an application using Docker? What challenges did you face and how did you resolve them? Like, that's a question that I would almost consider it more of a behavioral question, but you can tell very quickly if someone's full of it. So the other thing you can do is you're taking notes, right? Or who said you're taking notes. You can feed the notes back in and say, is this the right answer, essentially? But this is just a real quick and dirty example of how you can offload a ton of off admin with LLMs. And the point is getting the recruiter on the phone to do what? Any guesses? What do we want recruiters to do?
Fire them up, get them excited about the role.
Totally. I wasn't thinking that, but that's totally right. Listen. Literally just listen. Like, what is this person saying? Like, you're not worried about like thinking of what to say. You've got the roadmap in front of you. I'm not saying this is the answer to all your issues, but I'm saying this is like how we can start utilizing, ChatGPT and other systems to really help us be more informed recruiters. Then what else this can do is, let's say they give you the resume back and you've got 4 candidates, it'll give you a stack ranking of the 4 resumes and say, here's which we think is the strongest on paper. Cool.
But I also,
Yeah.
For you using this, and you obviously have experience with it, is it accurate, or do you see a lot of where you have to double check? I'm not trusting.
Yeah. So you brought up the hallucinations. You brought sorry. The hallucination is a big thing. It'll go off the rails quickly. So you have to you're the guardrail. And it goes back to your gut. You have to be able to say, this doesn't seem like we're going down the right path, or it seems like you're inferring something that isn't there. But the way that you can do that is literally say, I only want answers as related to specifically what is on their resume, no inference, something like that.
You have to be very specific with your prompts.
Yeah.
I liken AI to a 4-year-old and telling a 4-year-old to go clean your room. And then you go in and you check it and you realize, they haven't cleaned the room the way you expected, right?
Yeah.
So you just got to keep working and massaging it to
Yeah.
get how you want it. And then, if you wanted to remember how your tone, how you like your answers put out.
Yeah.
So it sounds more like you. And I'm like, I don't use this word.
Totally.
So
You keep training it. Yeah. Did you have a question?
No, I was just going to make a statement. That
Please.
You definitely have to double check it.
Yeah.
You will get confused quickly if you're using one chat for too long.
Yeah.
Yes.
It'll start mixing up different candidates, or
Yes.
different resumes. That's why technical question, because if you ask it a technical question to someone and they're like, that's not on my resume, what the hell are you talking about?
Yes.
That can get really.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. You have to be aware. Yeah.
Similar, I found it's not very good at understanding complexity of experience.
Right.
Like if you say filter for Python, and there's someone who had a master's project with Python, that's great, but it's not the same as 5 years of experience developing applications, and it's not good at teasing that out.
Yeah.
I also will ask it, how did you get there? You gave me a ranking. Based on what?
Totally.
You need to get under the hood with it.
So that's the secret to any AI product. Any company, if your companies are considering buying AI products, the first question you should ask the vendor is, how does it work? Literally, how does it work? What is the inference? I want to know what the logic is to where you're making decisions. You see this in programs extensions that say, we do inference in security clearance. I can infer that this person has a security clearance. There's products on the market that say that. My first question to that vendor is, let me see the logic. I want to see how you say it's going to find it, and it's always wrong, or leaving major things out.
So I was gonna say, with the AI, I will ask AI to write me the prompts to have them do what they need to do. So I'll say, write me a prompt that you're not, and keep it in simple language that I can't necessarily explain it the way that it makes sense to AI. So I'll say finding this candidate, do not infer anything, write me the prompts that you will understand, and it'll do it for you.
That's incredible. So let's do that. Critique this GPT. So it's a great point. Has anyone heard of the book Obvious Atoms? Have you read that book? It's a marketing book about this guy who just became a genius in marketing by pointing out the obvious. Like that was his whole thing. And that's kind of like what we're talking about here, is like pointing out the obvious. I literally have a GPT that's the Obvious Atoms GPT. And I'm like, I use it for clients. Like, I want you to critique this with the most obvious answer. Like how, if you're dealing with a hard or contentious negotiation, give me the most obvious answer. And it's usually not one you're thinking of. And you're like, oh, I'm going to go with that. But to your point, it's going to tell you what needs to be improved. And so this is when they talk about training a model. Like you're continually feeding it the better data. So tonight, I'll probably fix this. But yeah, what time is it? Okay, we got a little bit of time, I think. Okay, thank you. All right, I love that. But yeah, so the point with this is it can really elevate your job, essentially. There's a great podcast called The Timeless Art of Vibe Coding. Do you guys know who Rick Rubin is? The music producer. He basically Run DMC, Beastie Boys, but he's the guy that everyone goes to now for like anything. But he talks about this. Like he thinks that AI, and I love this angle, AI is the democratization of technology. It evens the playing field with technology for everyone. I've written applications with ChatGPT. I've never written a line of code in my life. But he talks about the creatives are going to rule the world. It's the people who understand how to use this creatively. So going back to the point of like, critique yourself, or how could I have done this better? Or I think a lot of people, what they do is they're like, what is the problem that I have right now that I have to solve? And they should be looking at it as, what are the future problems that I have no idea about that I should be using AI to fix? And that's like, if you even look at like applicant tracking systems, when companies buy these products, they always say, this is what we want it to do, rather than saying, hey, vendor, what is the system capable of doing? And that's why it's just, I can go for hours on that. But yeah, this is, it's the democratization of technology, according to Rick Rubin. All right, cool. Timeless Art of Vibe Coding. So if you don't know what vibe coding is, it's like coding with ChatGPT, and like developers hate it and think it's stupid, and I would too, because it's coming for their job. But isn't that funny that we thought it was coming for our jobs and now it's coming for the software developer jobs? I love it. I will also say, so I'm going on a tangent now, but like the whole AI coming for recruiting, like I think Art said it too. It's like, it's coming for people that are doing admin. It's not coming for people that are using thought. Like service industries right now are like hot. Like service industries, it's better than being in an industry that can be replicated by AI. So, you have to know how to use it. It's going to be very important, but in our space specifically with cleared recruiting, I think we're pretty safe. I don't want to jinx us, but I think we're pretty safe. Okay, so let's talk about messaging, unless there's anything else that y'all want to hear about. Any other questions or things that you're dying to know? Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about, let's talk messaging, and then if we have time, we will talk about sourcing and sourcing process.
Some creative ways to find contact information.
Okay, great. I didn't even use the parking lot. Creative ways to find contact information. Okay, let's sidebar into that really quick. So what are you using for contact information now? Like if you don't have someone's phone number, what do you do?
I mean,
Zoom info?
Yeah, it's one personal one that I discovered, but it's a long, lengthy process. Sometimes Seek Out, if you have Seek Out.
Something like that?
Yeah, but it's 75% accurate.
Does anyone have a free tool that they use to find contact information? And so are you looking for emails or phone numbers? Yeah. So I'll show you a couple. So I guess the use case is the resume is on ClearanceJobs and they haven't put their phone number in. Or I've seen some without emails too, right? Not a lot, but they're there. So this one, it's called Fast People Search. And we'll test it out here. Oh man. Let's get that person out of there. Okay, so we're gonna do me. Tom Weinert, San Diego. So the other thing I want to say about whenever you're doing this, well, let me show you this first, and we'll back up. So there's Tommy Weinert, San Diego. Oh my God, did it get cleaned? Okay, so
Chat
this is
also
me.
provided this free.
Really?
Yeah, and a couple of other ones, but this one was the better one.
So that's me. It's my old cell phone number. This is me at my current address, my full name, all my past addresses, and my current phone number, which is the phone number. So this isn't going to work all the time, but I'm pretty security minded, and this stuff is updated. Like I said, I moved to that address a year ago, so it's pretty address. And all those, like these are my college addresses. So fast people search is a good one to find phone numbers. You will sometimes get like a mom or like a related number. And what would you say if there's like, oh, that's my son? What would you say?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to reach out to your son about a job opportunity.
Yeah, what's his phone number?
Yeah, do you have his phone number?
Totally.
I'll give it to you, or I'll take your name and
Yeah.
give it to him. Yeah.
So let's just sidebar really quick. There's a lot of stuff out there like this that's really good, right? But this is like what I consider hunting. Some of the positions we're not always digging on, right? A lot of them we are. But you can go down a rabbit hole very quickly doing this stuff. And all of a sudden you're reading my college transcript and you're like, you know what I mean? And you're like, what have I done with the last 2 hours of my life? So when I look at sourcing, I look at it in three ways. I look at like, what is the bullseye? Like, so the person that is no kidding it, that's my one search string. Like this is the bullseye search string. If someone pops on this, I know they're right. That is where I spend the first hour of my search. From there, I go, okay, I'm done with the bullseyes. Let's start removing one or two qualifications. And then I'm gonna, like, that's another pile, okay? And then I've got another pile of people that maybe are missing 3 qualifications. And again, they're not missing them, it just doesn't say it on their resume.
I work reverse.
You work reverse, yeah.
So it's broader, and then if it's really broad, then I just kind of narrow it.
Yeah. The way I want to go in is because if it's the first call is done, I'm like, boom, done, next rack.
Yeah.
The other thing so that's why I do it that way.
Because the industry.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. But the importance is to have these 3 distinct piles of people, because this is going to segue really good into messaging. So if you know who's using any sort of email like automation or marketing where they're like 2 people, who do you guys work for? Okay, great. What's the tool that you use?
Sourcewell
Oh, okay. I'm very familiar.
and telemetry.
So you're doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't use it, but
So for those of you that aren't doing that, are you writing every single email to each candidate and sending it out? Is that kind of your workflow? Is that what you're doing? Yeah.
I draft one up and check to your co-pilot,
And you kind of like copy paste?
run it through, and then I'll just go in and we have something that we use called gems.
Yeah, Gem.
We have gem, and then we have another one. But since I'm new to this, what I do is I just set up time.
Yeah.
Just send out certain emails to people. I send them my calendar link, let them book time on my calendar, so that they can engage me when it's convenient for them.
Yeah.
telemetry does that.
So for me, and I think it's important to understand the technology that's out there. There are systems that allow you to write your email campaigns, and so for example, it's 10 emails and 10 text messages. You may think I'm crazy, but like my philosophy is like I'm calling until one of us dies. Like that's how I work. Yeah. So 10 email, you can write 10 emails, 10 text messages, and you hit go on the system, and it sends the messages to those 100 candidates, blah, blah, blah. Now you're like, holy crap, spam, and which I would agree with you. But my philosophy and 100 is a high number, it's not 100, it's usually like 20. But my philosophy is, going back to one of the first slides, candidates hate being contacted about the wrong job. You have to be good at sourcing to be able to be good at messaging. You have to bring the right people in the funnel to be able to speak to them all the same way. So the big struggle is like, how am I going to write a messaging campaign that goes out to 20 people and make it personal to each of those 20 people so they don't think it's a spam message? And we've gotten very, very good at doing that. Let me show you some examples. So fast people search, I always keep forgetting who asked me that. You asked me that. Okay. But there's a bunch of other, those are all free tools or public databases. It's what background investigators use. It's what OSINT analysts use, to be honest. There's a lot of them. If you're really interested in those tools, there's a website called OSINT Framework, O-S-I-N-T Framework, and it's all the background information tools that OSINT investigators, OSINT analysts use in their job on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, and it's all free. And again, I have to say this, like some of them will take you to places you don't want to go, but yeah. All right, so let's talk about outreach really quick. I like this format. I like being able to kind of like just ping around like this. All right, so the basis of messaging, oh, that's not messaging, is making sure that you've done your sourcing right. Sorry, let me scan ahead here. Okay. All right, so it's all about like you found them, now what, right? The single point of failure in any recruiting engine is the response rate. So for how many people you're reaching out to, how many people get back to you. I haven't come across a company yet that says they're tracking this. This is an incredibly important metric. You should understand for how many people you reach out to, how many people are getting back to you. There is a $41 billion industry that this is all they do, and it's called email marketing. There's a reason why companies are investing that much money in their email marketing, because they want to make sure if they send a message, you are going to get a response. So when I say recruiters are going to look more like marketers, it's thinking like this. So a lot of attention should be placed on your messaging. And what should you be looking at? You should be looking at subject lines. Like, how does my subject line perform? Now, all of this data is out there. I will suggest to Google it frequently. So give me an example of like, what are the most high performing subject lines right now? And it's not gonna give you an example, but it'll tell you 7 lines or less, no emojis, blah, blah. It'll tell you exactly what it is. So you wanna have a high performing subject line, multi-channel outreach. You have to be calling people first. You have to pick up the phone. I know recruiters hate hearing that, but we should get back to doing a lot of high outreach on the phone. The other beautiful thing about that is not a lot of teams are doing that right now. They're really relying on email. Strategic outreach and message formatting. So I'm giving you the cliff notes a little bit. So how can you increase your response rate? Personalization, right? We used to think of personalization to be like, oh, I saw you like pizza. I love pizza too. Like, we should chat. And candidates don't want that anymore. For a while, it was kind of working. But now what they want to know that the job is personal to them. They want to know that the recruiter is specifically reaching out to them about a job that they are a fit for. And how do you get that across in your messaging? So here's some examples. I guarantee someone in this room has written this exact email. I came across your profile and was impressed by your experience in Java development. Your background in Java really stood out, and I wanted to reach out to you with an exciting opportunity that aligns perfectly. We're currently hiring for blah, blah, blah. If this sounds interesting, I'd like to chat, provide more details, blah, blah, blah. So this is many recruiting emails, and I look at this, like when I look at like what's wrong with it, this is what I look at. Exciting, like everyone says their jobs are exciting, and the reality is most of them aren't. I mean, it's just true. I came across your profile. Like I just stumbled into your experience. I just magically found you. No, I strategically am looking for you. I understand your background and I'm making an intention to connect with you. Your background really stood out. This goes back to your point. Like, what do I know? What do I really know about your technical background? I wanted to reach out with an exciting opportunity. Again, it aligns perfectly. Like, how do I know any of this? So they can see this all as BS, and this is the exact email your competitors are writing. Everyone is writing this email. And then this is a really important one. If this sounds interesting, I'd love to chat. Like, let me know a time that works for you. So I get super annoyed when people say to me, hey, pick a time on my calendar. I'm always like, I don't know why it's always like this weird like power play, but I want to make it easy for people. Like, this is giving them work. Like, check your schedule, get back to me. If it sounds interesting, like it's just weakness. And when I talk about strategic marketing, this is the stuff they look at. They look at the language. They look at how are we saying things and how is it being received. So that's a big one. So here's the tips. Write it like you say it. I think we get out of that a lot of times. Like, we're all human beings and we try to write these like eloquent emails. Like, let's just write it how we say it and talk. Like, let's talk like humans. Talk about you before we. It's all about them. It's not about us. It's about their career. It's about how this will help them. You know, who cares if you were just on Inc. whatever for being the best employer in Oklahoma? Like, nobody really cares. What they want to know is that the job lines up with them. Format for breezy reading. Where do you think most people are reading the emails? Phone. They're reading it on the phone, right? If they have to scroll, it's over. And then make the next step easy. So this is the before. I mean, literally, I get that. And I'm like, it's just a block. Like, I don't even want to read this. And so this is how I write it. I'd love to chat with you about a team. We're building support an IC client on a new program. So I told them that we're a prime contractor, essentially. We have a new program. I shared your information with our director of engineering. She thinks the work you've been supporting on Phantom Ripper would be a huge value add to our team. Enjoy more 3-day weekends with our 980 schedule if this team works. Are you free tomorrow at this time or specifically at that time? So you want to be very specific. It's a lot easier for them to say, yes, I'm available, and then you just shoot them a calendar invite and it's done. But anytime there's work, low barrier of entry, they're on their phone. Oh man, now I got to check my calendar. When am I free? Like, this is a huge thing. So just short, sweet, to the point. But what you've done is you've established your credibility. You could even go further on this, right? You could say more about this, but you're in a short amount of time. I made this up, but this is like all the IC contracts, like Ninja Highway, you know, all these weird names. So, but whatever, like, you put down that you know that they were working on the Ninja Highway contract or something, like, they're gonna know that you're in the know. But yeah, you know, and then to this candidate, like, I would never say, I'm gonna submit you, never say, you know, hiring manager, any of those words. I just wanna always have authority in the conversation. All right, so I'm not too stoked on this one anymore, but like, what do you do? This one's better. So you've got a candidate ghosting. What do you do if a candidate's ghosting? Do you have an email? Do you have a go-to email or go-to thing you do if a candidate's ghosting? Why do we care? Oh, please. That's it. Literally, is everything okay? I'm concerned that I haven't been able to catch you over the last few days. I have some feedback I'd like to share, but most importantly, want to make sure everything's okay. So you may be saying, if they're ghosting, why do you care if they're going to get back to you? Because I want to know. Because I will keep calling them and I will keep emailing them. I'm kind of giving them an out. And they're going to say one or two things. They're going to be like, Tommy, I've been so busy. I'm still interested. I apologize. Are you free? Blah, blah, blah. Or they're going to say, look, my personal situation's changed. I'm not ready to make a move. And either way, I've got an answer, right? And you have to realize that I think people forget, like, so again, your sourcing is good. We know this person's good. We know they're a fit. We know they're going to fit for something we're working on. So as long as your sourcing funnel is solid, do whatever you can to get a response from these people. Because again, they may fit for something in the future, and you don't want to like never contact this person again because they quote unquote ghosted. You have to make the most out of the candidate pool. What's the best time of day to send an email? Does anyone know the answer to that? I don't know. It's different, but the data is out there that will tell you. And I think the data, it may be similar, but it's like Tuesdays and Thursdays at like 10 a.m. has a really high open rate. Just another tip, if you're scheduling interviews, have the interviews scheduled before 10 a.m. Like the mental power the team has to conduct an interview at 10 a.m. is way different than at 3 p.m. And I promise you, even that little tweak, scheduling your interviews earlier in the morning will give your candidates a better chance of getting the job. But the point is the data is out there and you have to think about it. I'm not gonna fire off 1,000 messages to a full scope poly person at Monday at 8 a.m. They're in the skiff. I may fire them out at 12 when they may go to their car, or better yet, at 6 p.m. And you could schedule all those emails. You can write them and just hit schedule on Outlook and say send it at 6 p.m. And All of these little tweaks, like I'm all about how do we, there's not gonna be a magical appearance of more cleared candidates. It's just, we are dealing with a slow process. We are dealing with a limited candidate pool. You have to make the most out of every outreach that you make. And this stuff really does matter. And then the other thing I'll say is every candidate is different. So I may be telling you all of this stuff that works, and you may talk to a candidate and they'll be like, I really hate your approach. Like everyone is different. Everyone has their own preferences and situations. But you have to think about the time zone that they're in, if they're in a skiff, and think about when you're launching your email. And then phone first. So who's cold calling in here? Be honest. Okay, yeah, you got to do it, right? A quick little hack is you send them a text message first. But do you know why? Yes, but there's a technical reason.
They'll recognize your number.
But how will they recognize your number?
You would have said, hi, I'm Cindy, I work with Zachary Piper in your text message, and they already know.
Yes, the phone will say, this might be Cindy, or whatever. Because you put in a text message that, so it's not gonna say spam, it's gonna say maybe Tommy Weinert. So it's way different, but these are all the little tricks. You have to think about, again, like literally how are they receiving that message and what's going through their head. So that's a cool little trick. All right, so I spend a ton of time prospecting. I prospect clients mostly now, not as much in recruiting. And I wanna share with you an email I sent to a client which I think might be one of the best emails I've ever written to a client, and just share this with you. So I read your profile in WBJ, I'm so glad I did. From the Broken Bones, Travels, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I redacted that. I read your wait, what? Oh yeah, it was really an enjoyable profile to read. Something you said in there stuck out to me. It was a line about GovCon customers paying a reasonable wage. This continues to be such an issue, blah, blah, blah. Like I clearly researched this person. I clearly read their profile and I tailored this email to this person. Like I would love an opportunity to meet with you and chat. What do you think their response was? Huh? They did respond, but what do you think it was?
You know too much.
Unsubscribe. So literally, even when you do everything in your power sometimes to like hedge your bet, it's not always gonna work. But the point is like, there is so much strategy about messaging and the way that we talk to our candidates that will increase the amount of response that you get and the success that you ultimately have. But it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of intention. Kind of goes back to the point of metrics, right? Like, how am I supposed to do, study this way and also hit my recruiting metrics? Well, the discussion is, do the metrics make sense for your business, right? I'm not gonna submit 10 full scope poly people a week. It's just not possible. But I could submit 2 qualified ones if I'm spending the time researching them. So that's all I have, guys. I'm actually right on time. Do you have any final questions or anything you want me to go back on or clarify? Well, you're gonna have to come to San Diego. Okay. I can send you a portion of these slides. Yeah. So a lot of this is the Shadow Labs training platform. I didn't give you everything, but I gave you probably more than I was planning on giving you. But yeah, also I've got cards, just connect with me. I'd love to literally if you've just got questions about any of this stuff, I'm always available. Like you can ask anyone, I'll pick up the phone and I'll chat with you for an hour about recruiting. But yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you all for listening to me yap for an hour and a half. Thank you. All right.